ESPN is driven by Brown and Crouppen Law Firm. It's time for the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Welcome into our fourth period, the extended Blues postgame show on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. Along with Joe Vitale, I'm Alex Ferrario after the Blues 1-0 shutout winner over the Utah Mammoth. Their first back-to-back set of victories since Game 2 and Game 3 of the regular season, and Joel Hofer picking up his second shutout of the year. Joe, we got to start with Hofer. We talked about it in pregame, the revenge game for him, and it sure as heck felt like the players knew it was a revenge game for Joel Hofer as well, for how dedicated they were to blocking shots tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, his first game against the Mammoth, he got yanked, 3 goals and 6 shots, and he was embarrassed. It's an embarrassing thing, and not just the goals, but the way they went in. It was uncharacteristic of Joel Hofer. And, he had to let that one stew for quite some time. Big picture, Joel Hofer, let's just look at the last month of hockey. This kid has really made a comeback, and it's going to take a little bit longer for him to really kind of get the numbers back up and the wins back up because he put himself in quite a little hole. But listen, Alex, he's chipping away at this thing. He knows he can't change anything about the past, and he's just super focused and poised to move forward. Always loved talking to Joel. He's such a great kid. He's got such a great attitude. He's always just that next day, next step, next game, next save. It's always that next one, right? And that's how you have to be. You can't have a memory that really throws you off if you want to be a strong goaltender in this league. And, he gets the call this weekend to play against the Mammoth. And he comes out after that game. He played him in October. And what did he do? He shut the door. He wasn't under a ton of pressure. He didn't have some, back-to-back sequences of 3-4 huge saves, sprawling saves, backdoor saves, glove saves. I wouldn't say that any of these saves really would make a highlight reel even, but he made the necessary save down the stretch. It was the ones that were the big saves that just looked simple because he was just steady. He was on top of his crease. He was confident, and the ones clipping him off the shoulders because his angles are dialed in. Had a great team effort in front of him, guys blocking shots from top to bottom, and this one's got to feel good for him, and certainly he was out there and he steadied the ship.
Well, the other thing, too, Joe, was the team commitment. They had 21 blocked shots tonight, which is the second most they have had in a game all season. They had 22 against the Capitals, 22 against the Seattle Kraken. But, you think of the 21 that they handled tonight on top of a 5-minute penalty that they had to kill off in the third period. Man, Utah had a total of 5 high-danger scoring chances combined in the first 2 periods. It was a defensive clinic tonight of how the Blues were playing.
I think it's the symmetry of 2 teams and 2 groups working hard together. The goaltending team, and of course the defending team, and which is your Blues group, and the forwards and defensemen, everyone working in the same strategy, which I think it comes back to they recognize that this is a game they knew that Joel Hofer wanted. And you love to have that effort every single night, and you have the ability to for sure. But I think that this group knows what it was. And we see this a lot in the NHL, Alex. And it's a lot of times when, young goaltenders get called up for their first game, or a backup only played 2 or 3 games, hasn't played in a year. All of a sudden you're thinking we're just going to run right through this group. And then all of a sudden the team effort in front of them is insane. I've been in those locker rooms. I'll never forget, like a Brad Thiessen, he just got called up. We were in Columbus. He's never played an NHL game, and he's this young kid from college. And we had 2 goaltenders go down, and we're in the locker room. I remember it's just everyone wants to rally around that kid. You're like, boys, we're blocking everything tonight. We're going to get this kid his first win in his first game. And it is a rallying cry. And not to say it's the same thing because Hofer's been around a long time, but it was a tough start to the year for him. There's been different themes and there's been different issues popping up for this group. And one of the ones you cannot shy away from to start the year was the goaltending. Not only him, but Jordan Binnington too. There was some games where you're like, wow, our goaltending was just not there, which is crazy to think because the previous 3 years, especially with these 2 that have been so tight together over the last 2, it was never really an issue as consistently as we saw. So they're climbing out of it, and they're a team that understands that these are 2 guys that have had our back for the last couple of years in multiple situations, Binnington longer. So it's up to us now. Let's go out there and let's put our bodies in front of shots. Toropchenko off the skate there in the second. Was it Oscar Sundqvist there taking a stick off the face from Nick Schmaltz on a one-timer there with under a minute to go? I mean, great team effort all around. I love the 6-5 wins. I love the 7-2 wins. But these 1-0 wins, these do a lot for your group.
They mean more for a group, don't they?
They do, because you know that, listen, sometimes you do outscore a team. You just, basically score more goals, and that's great. But to lock it down defensively, I mean, it's been a good theme for this group. You have to defend, right? If you want to win, you want to win a championship, you want to go the distance, you got to be good defensively. And, Alex, I know they haven't, picked up a ton of points here. They're still hanging on tight.
Yeah.
On that road trip, they picked up 4 out of the last 4. Relatively low-scoring games on that road trip as well. Even the one game they won on that road trip, it's a 2-1 victory. I like these tight wins. I do. I think it shows a lot about the character of the team. It shows a lot about the patience of the philosophy that Jim Montgomery is trying to implement. Hey, let's be patient. Let's take our time. Let's defend first, and let's wear the other team down to make them want to take some opportunistic chances that don't go their way, and then we will counter. And, of course, that's exactly what happened. You have Broberg joining the rush there. You catch Utah there getting a little impatient, going for a chance. A good strip by Thomas. You send Broberg up, set up Holloway, and it was the one and only goal they needed.
How massive has he been, Joe? I mean, I asked Kofer about watching him play, and he said he's just never phased in any situation. I mean, we talked so much when Alex Pietrangelo left in free agency of Colton Parayko taking over that alpha role, and I still think he is. But, man, Philip Broberg looks like an alpha out there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I think he's really starting to separate himself from the pack. He's a very different defender. When we got him last year, I think it took him a little while to get acclimated. We saw that spurts of it, him jumping in the rush, playing in the offense, kind of playing that just positionless style, that rover style, if you will. And, then at times he kind of got to tighten back up. Yeah. Young kid, learning the way.
Got injured, too.
Got injured as well. Lost a lot of time. Didn't play in the Four Nations tournament, mostly because of the injury. Wasn't really considered.
Yeah.
But he's opening up a lot of eyes right now. And if he keeps playing this way, to me, he's a player that's going to be playing there in February. Jim Montgomery talked about him earlier in the day. He said he is a difference maker, and he is a guy that has the potential to drive this game. He can alter a game. And there's not many players in the league that you can say can do that. Curbs and I were breaking it down briefly there. You heard it. He's not in the Cale Makar class yet, but he's got all the tools to get there. He can skate. He's got the shot. He defends very well. He covers a lot of ice because he's so tall. Really, for him, the one thing that's going to keep him from getting there is just his attitude.
Yeah.
Jim also, Montgomery talked about it earlier. He said he's starting to really develop the consistent belief system that he can be that good. He can be the guy that drives the game. He can be the player that takes the game over. That's a big deal, right? But when you have the attitude to say, I can be that, honestly, Alex, the rest is up to him. And if he wants it, he can go out there and grab it because, like I said, he's got all the tools to do it.
He totally does. Let's wrap on this, Joe, because I sent you guys this stat after the second period. It's the 7th straight game that the Blues have gone into the third period with their opponent scoring 2 or fewer goals. We talked about this going into that road trip of the Blues maybe having to change some things in terms of their scheme, how they play. Buchnevich mentioned this yesterday, that going into that Maple Leafs game, they did change some things up with how they were playing on the ice. What has stood out to you? Because defensively, they are not allowing much to their opponents in terms of chances. Yeah,
no, I mean, to keep it relatively simple for the fans out there, there's generally 2 styles of defense. When you're playing the D zone, there's typically a zone or a man-to-man. And like it's described, zone is the defending players like the Blues, for example, they kind of take up their spaces like, this is my zone. I'm protecting the zone. Anyone who comes in and out of the zone is my guy. As soon as a player leaves my zone, he's no longer my guy. He's my buddy's guy. Versus man-to-man, which is just that. You stay on your man. So I think the Blues, it's clear to me that they have gone more to a man-on-man style. Not everywhere. There's release points, and it's kind of hard to explain on the airways, and I need a chalkboard to kind of give it more detail. But they have release points, right? But overall, it is more of a man-to-man. And I think it keeps it simpler for players, where they're not looking to have players come in and out of their zones. Where do I go? Do I not go? It's simple. Tonight, Clayton Kelly, you're my guy. I'm sticking on you like glue. And I'm not going to let you breathe. It takes a lot of the thinking away from defending. And I think when you have less thinking, Alex, you have more aggression. You can just go. And I think that that's what's been good about this new defensive structure, if you will, that started on that Toronto game. You're right. The first game of that 5-game road trip they just got back from. And I think that with that more man-to-man style, it has allowed them to be more aggressive. Well, guess what? It's a domino effect. Man-to-man, more aggressive, squash more plays, you're out of defense more often. If you're not in the defensive zone more often, your top players are playing more in the offensive zone, which means you have more energy to play in the offensive zone. I think that was what was tripping them up earlier in the year with this zone. They were spending so much time in the D zone when they eventually did get the puck. Heck, Thomas was been out there for 35, 45 seconds, finally get the puck, but you don't have any legs left to get to the offensive zone. So they're squashing plays quicker, they're saving their energy. Now it's translating to offense, which of course they have more energy to play in that fun zone.
Is there one style that's harder to play than the other? Like, is man-to-man harder to play for an 82-game schedule?
It's different. You know, I think that it can be part of the more aggressiveness of it is it's going to have more wear and tear on your body. You're going to be chasing a lot more. But also on the flip side of that is you're spending less time in the D zone. So it's kind of a tick for tat, if you will. And I think that different players and different coaches like different systems. But clearly with the makeup of our back end, I think that they're guys that just like to read and react. I don't think there's too much thinking going on. They don't want to be thinking. I think they just want to go. And I think a lot of it has to do, Alex, with just what is the DNA makeup of the characters you have back there. And I think they're starting to see that this is more of a man-on-man group of guys that just likes to be on their toes and go get it.
Well, we'll see if they can continue that. Anaheim comes in on Monday, and not an easy task, but Blues have played well against the Devils, of course, the Utah Mammoth and Ottawa, who have all been really good teams. Joe, great call tonight, man. We'll talk Monday.
Thank you, Alex. Can't wait.
Here you go. He's Joe Vitale. That's our Ted Drew's 3 takeaways where traditional tastes great and the holidays feel right at home. Let's hear now from Philip Broberg with our soundbite of the night.
The soundbite of the night is presented by Rocket Convenience Stores. Fuel your car and your daily cravings at Rocket Convenience Stores.
So can you just take us through the what you're seeing on Dylan's goal, chasing down the puck and kind of winning that to the zone?
I was just trying to get the puck, and then he was yelling behind me, so I just gave him the puck, and he made it a very nice shot, so it was nice seeing it go in.
It seemed like you had a few different options. You had Snugger going to the net. You could have taken the shot yourself, or you had Holler behind you. Like, how did you pick that option?
He wanted the puck, so, he was yelling for it, and I gave it to him, and, he ended up scoring, so it was nice seeing it go in.
Philip, what was the mindset going into the 5-minute penalty kill, and why were you guys so successful in pulling it off?
I think it's the sacrifice. I think, when something like that happens, you just want to kill it off and, move on in the game, and, I think we did a very good job of that.
How important is it that you guys are starting to get some momentum here on home ice?
It's huge. We want to keep building our game and keep getting better every day.
I know you've been doing a lot more shutdown type stuff on that top pair, but how much do you enjoy that offensive end? You had a few rushes tonight.
Obviously I want to contribute to offense as well. So, I think, I take a lot of pride being good defensively, and I like keep doing that.
Philip, you're getting a lot of minutes here lately. How are you embracing just all the added responsibilities you're getting?
I'm just trying to get better every day, and, just trying to help the team in any way I can.
What's kind of the biggest area of growth you feel in your game from last year to this year?
I think being hard to play against, working on down low and being a little bit more physical, and I'm trying to get better every day as well. So just trying to keep doing that.
Get some extra energy from celebrating Justin Falk here tonight with this 1,000 game. Obviously, you guys did it in Toronto too, but do it in front of the home fans.
Falk is such a good guy, and when I came here, he was my deep partner for my first season here, and he was such a good mentor for me, and he was massive for me in my first season here, making me feel comfortable on the ice and off the ice as well. So I'm very happy for him.
Your focus is on the Blues, but so much talk on the outside about you should make the Olympic team. Just how much are you thinking about that?
Not much at all. I'm focused on this team and, helping this team in any way I can. It would be a dream to play in the Olympics for Sweden, but I also know it's a great competition on that back end and the whole team as well. So, I'm just trying to get better every day here and help this team in any way I can.
I know they asked you about the ice time, but how are you able to take on so much? And obviously you're in great shape, but is that something that you thought you could do earlier in your career, play that much?
I think, I work hard and try to stay in shape, and I think I get help with my D partner as well. He's making life a lot easier on me. So it's great playing with pairs, and I think he's doing a great job out there to help me.
There you go. That's Philip Broberg, who, in my opinion, should be on that Swedish Olympic team. Now, look, he's not wrong. There is some stiff competition for it when you think of guys like Gustav Forsling and when you think of Erik Karlsson. But without question, Philip Broberg is a top defenseman right now in the National Hockey League. If you look at the minutes that he plays, the competition that he plays against, so he's going up against the best lines every single night. And although the points aren't there, the defensive aspect of the game is there. And, you have to remember when they put those teams together, it's not always the best player. They want specific roles of players, kind of like how they did with Colton Parayko at the Four Nations tournament. They wanted a guy who could be a shutdown defenseman, play in a lot of different roles and eat a lot of ice time, mobile defenseman who can move the puck, who's big, long reach. Philip Broberg, in my opinion, should be on that Swedish Olympic team. So it'll be really interesting to see how that develops over the next few weeks, because I know they're going to have to come to the final decision on that moving forward. But regardless, if he doesn't get in this year, he's going to be in the next tournament that takes place in season and the next Olympics that'll happen in 4 years. So that's our soundbite of the night. And that's Philip Broberg after the team's 1-0 shutout win over the Utah Mammoth. We'll take a break, come back here from Jim Montgomery, and we'll have our final look after the Blues' victory this evening. Alex Ferrario with you on your home for the Blues, 101 ESPN.
back to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back inside Enterprise Center. Alex Ferrario with you after a 1-0 shutout win. The Blues over the Utah Mammoth. A lot of people reacting over on YouTube about Pavel Buchnevich's game. Had another solid night. Didn't score. Had 7 shot attempts from Pavel Buchnevich. You have nights like that, more are going to start going in. It does snap his point streak, though, but he played 18 minutes and 22 seconds, including 6 minutes and 13 minutes 6 minutes and 13 seconds on the penalty kill. Pavel Buchnevich had a big game, picked up a hit as well. And then more people chiming in on Logan Mailloux. Logan Mailloux, 13:02 tonight, had 2 hits, 2 blocked shots, 1 shot attempt, and played 13:02. And a lot of that is because, you know, he didn't see a whole lot of penalty kill time. Did get 90 seconds on the penalty kill, but you got to assume for how much they were playing there in that third period, how tight that hockey game got, you saw a lot more Broberg, Parayko, Fowler, and Falk. But still another really strong performance by Logan Mailloux this evening. And I thought was pretty noticeable there in the third period. Now, not everything, you know, the penalty kill throws a lot into this. They spent 5 minutes on that penalty kill in that third period, so it alters the ice time a little bit. But you saw a little of Robert Thomas with Dylan Holloway and Jimmy Snuggerud towards the end of that second period and into the third period. So juggling up the line combinations once again. It's very certain the fourth line seems to be set, and you've got Schenn, Dvorsky, and Buchnevich as a line that Jim Montgomery really likes. It's figuring out those other two. I'd say this too, remember, with Jake Neighbors. He was out for 4 weeks with that knee injury. It's going to take a little bit more time to get up to speed for the amount of time that he missed. But still juggling up those combos, trying to find a little bit more for Jim Montgomery. But tonight they didn't need to worry about the offense because defensively they were so sound. Didn't even give Utah sniffs, it felt like, in this hockey game. More on that when we hit our final look, but let's hear from Jim Montgomery.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
How did you guys get through that 5-minute PK in the third period there?
I just think everybody's really committed to running good lines. I thought that we won faceoffs that really mattered. We cleared pucks 200 feet. Excellent job by our penalty killers, and Hof had, whenever the puck came to Hof, he made the saves.
I feel like when you see on the bench when you're seeing guys laying out, blocking shots also, that's too as many times as they did.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great to watch the last 2 nights how committed guys have been to playing the right way, to sacrificing for each other, to being selfless again. It's nice to see those qualities back in our team identity.
Were you surprised that they came back with the call that they did?
You know, I don't like to talk about what the referees make, you know. That's the call they made, and we just got to deal with it, and I love the way we killed the penalty off.
Waiting for a whistle there to put someone in the box?
Yeah, that's a mistake by me. Usually 5 minutes. I had never seen it before, and Coach Ott said, he goes, I went through it one time in Montreal. And, you know, you hesitate to put someone in, because if you get a penalty, now it's 4-on-4, you're going to use different players. Another penalty happens, you might have a power play, now it's completely different players. Like if you put in someone like Kyrou, because you think you're killing for 5 minutes, all of a sudden you're on the power play, now you're missing one of your weapons. And I didn't want to put Dvorsky or Snuggerud in there because of the same reasons. They're really dynamic 4-on-4 players. But in the end, I won't make that mistake again.
Monty, you're only going to score 1 goal. That sure is a beauty. Just talk about the 2 players who created that play.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we missed a couple of breakaways, too. I love the Bukestad opportunity on the breakaway. But, you know, the goal we scored, I mean, it's just great creativity and guys going hard to the net, making a nice finish on the play.
You feel like you had an ample opportunity, obviously, to score more than you did tonight?
Yeah, I thought we did, but we thought, you know, like, it was going to be a hard-fought game like it was, 2 teams playing 3 and 4 nights. And I just like the way we managed the puck in the third period. I like the way we played in the first period. And, you know, we didn't extend the lead, but we talked about being committed to winning a game 1-0 before the game even started.
What do you think's kind of been different the past 2 games? come together like that. And it seemed like tonight you fed off last night.
Yeah, I think we fed off tonight off the third period last night. Guys feel it, the extra second and third effort, the desperation, the selflessness. Guys, you see the block shots, but the middle lane drives, opening up the wide guy, guys stopping at the net. Just a lot of stopping and starting in the D zone. It's been fun to watch these guys take their games to another level.
This one personal. You like that attitude from a goalie, knowing what happened the last time they were in there and didn't go well for them?
Yeah, that's the fire you want to see in your players. You want to see them be natural competitors like that. And I love to hear that, it was personal for him. That means he's coming into the game and his attitude and his mind is fixed on the process. And he's playing in the moment and he wants to get back what he felt wasn't a good enough game the last time.
How's that Sundquist doing?
Hey, you know what? When I looked at him, he's doing okay. I don't think he's going to require stitches from what I saw. Amazingly, it's a hard head. Yeah.
Did you see you mentioned a lot of desperation yesterday. Did you see that again tonight?
Yeah, I saw it for 3 periods tonight. I didn't love our second period, and that was more puck management than anything. Not playing to the goal line when we knew that in the first period we tired them out, and that if we could do it for 60 minutes, we thought we could have pushed and extended the lead. Didn't happen, but I did love the way we dug in the third, managed the puck really well.
We talked about Broberg before the game, but the skating on the play where he draws the penalty, skating to win that puck and set up Holloway, is that just kind of a continuation of what he's been doing all year?
Yeah, I mean, he's been incredible this year. Just his motor on the ice, his ability to skate and jump by people, his ability to kill plays. And like I said, he's a lot firmer now. Like, you can see his man strength has come out. And he's taken his game to another level just with the way he competes night in, night out. It's been pretty. If we were playing really good hockey, he would be talked about in the league a lot more. Right now, it's kind of hidden because of our team, the way we haven't gotten off to a great start. But he has been a tremendous hockey player from the start of the year.
Speaks to his character too, because he does have that offensive ability, but he was willing to kind of adjust and play that shutdown role that you asked him to play.
Yeah, but he knows that the way we play 5-on-5, that we're going to want him to go on offense, and with a little more of finishing touch or a little bit better puck luck, he might have 8 goals already. And then you're really talking about him as an offensive defenseman already.
At what point did you have a moment where you felt like this is a guy that can handle 24, 25, 26, 27 minutes a night? If you're playing him that much.
Yeah. Well, I do think he can handle that. He plays a lot of minutes for us already. I think he's our leading minute cruncher of all of our defensemen on the year. I don't know for sure in the last month, maybe not the first month of the season, but he's just got an incredible engine and he's in tremendous shape and he just doesn't seem to get tired. I mean, that 3-on-3 shift in New Jersey really, that was incredible the way he dug in there.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
And he's 24 years old. Like Jim Montgomery just said there that he's starting to unlock his man strength. He's 24 years old, and he's starting to unlock his man strength. I am fascinated to see how he continues to develop and, frankly, what that contract extension is going to look like, because the Blues have a number 1 defenseman in Philip Broberg. Jim's right. I mean, for some of the chances that he has had this season, could be talking about 6 to 8 goals from him. How much he drives offense, talking about more assists if this team's finishing could be a little bit better than what it's been early on. Look, the final look in this one to me is they have consistently put together a better defensive frame of hockey. 7 straight games, they have gone into the third period allowing 2 or fewer goals to their opponent. That happened 8 of 14 times in the first 14 games of the season. That means 6 of 14 games, the Blues entered the third period giving up 3 or more goals. Some of that was goaltending. Some of that was how they played defensively. If this scheme that Joey was talking about is what they've gone to, then this man-to-man stretch has been how they've locked down their opponents. And look, I understand that road trip, they went 1-1-3. Not a good road trip. They picked up points. Yes, you laid some points, or you left some points on the table. But gave up 3 goals to Toronto. The third goal was in overtime. You gave up 1 goal to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You gave up 3 goals to the Philadelphia Flyers. The 1 goal was in the shootout, so essentially 2 goals. You gave up 3 goals to the Rangers. That's the one that still stung. You gave up 3 goals to the Devils. Again, scored in overtime. That means they're not giving up much. Now, they're also not scoring a bunch. That's the part that you hope will break through. Can I explain this? Maybe some of it is Jake Neighbors getting back to his freshness. Maybe it's the chemistry. Maybe it's your best players coming through. But Pavel Buchnevich was really good tonight. Point streak snapped, 7 shot attempts with 2 on goal. Dylan Holloway is continuing to heat up, picking up points. You really need to get Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou going. Kyrou had that big goal last night against Ottawa. Robert Thomas picking up assists, but those are the guys you want to continue to see build. But, man, if their offense can click defensively, they figured something out. They've got an identity in their own end right now. That is a positive for this Blues team. And now you pulled yourself within 2 of multiple teams. You know, the Blackhawks are in the middle of a losing skid. The Utah have lost 3 in a row. Edmonton picked up the win tonight, but they've been essentially playing 500 hockey. All these teams are jumbled with 27 points, and now the Blues have 25 points. So that's a positive for this team. You kept yourself above water. Now you have to string them together. They've put 2 wins together. They've put about 7 games of solid hockey together. If you can untap your offense, like Jim Montgomery said in pregame, there's going to be a streak at some point for this team. Maybe this is the start of it because you played some really strong hockey against the Devils, who were the second-best team in their division. You beat the Ottawa Senators, who is the second-best team in their division, and you beat up on a Utah Mammoth team that's struggling as of late but still has some elite talent on the offensive side. So they get another test and a big one against the Anaheim Ducks. Anaheim does play tomorrow night in Chicago, and then they'll travel to St. Louis for that game on Monday. The Blues, of course, have tomorrow off, and they'll wrap up that 3-game homestand against the Ducks here on Monday night. It will be a 7 o'clock puck drop with a 6 o'clock pregame skate right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. Once again, a huge thank you to our great producer, Jordan Deacon, to our on-site engineer, Jim Hewer, helping us out in the broadcast booth, to Shelby Sheehy, who has helped us out, and Jeremy Rutherford helping us out with some audio in the Blues locker room. A 1-0 shutout for St. Louis, their 9th win of the season, and they'll try and get back to 500 on Monday, and we will have all of that coverage for you right here in your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company.